Hello, welcome back to AMA Puget Sound's Coffee Talk series, live on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Pacific. We have a very special episode today. We have more than one guest. We have at least a portion of our fiscal year 23 board of directors. Hello, welcome everyone.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Happy Thursday.
It's kind of a happy new year for us because the new year just started on July 1st. So we're about a week in and we're
without the hangover, Julie.
Yes. Yes. Although I don't know, there's the stress of the nonprofit running and then there's a hangover. I don't know. Either way, Alka-Seltzer is needed. We've got a fun group. So we're going to get to know everybody a little bit more today, and I'm very excited about it. So if we could, before we kind of really delve in, I want to make sure everybody introduces themselves. So I'm going to start with Makayla. If you want to introduce yourself, what is it you do, and basically what you do for AMA and what you do for work.
All right. Well, thanks, Julie. My name is Makayla, and I am the COO of the Puget Sound chapter. In my role, I do a lot of administrative work. I get ready for our board meetings, whether that's putting together an agenda, reaching out to all of the board members, just to make sure that we've got all of our KPIs in for the month. I do a lot of the reporting. So I do the reporting for our chapter up to AMA National. And then, I guess this is probably one of my goals too for this upcoming year is, just to kind of fill in where I can and help out any of our board members or volunteers, whether they're stuck with something or they just need an extra body. And then in my professional career, I'm the marketing and branding coordinator for a insurance brokerage in Tacoma. I've been there for 3 years now. And so I do a lot of, the social media and website management. So yeah, I will now pass it over to Paul.
Hi guys, my name is Paul Sutton. I'm the VP of Communication. I have been at AMA now for 3 years. Actually originated from the UK, but moved to California back in 2004. So spent about 15 years there. Moved to Seattle in 2019. Got tired of the sunshine, so I thought I'd experience 4 seasons, or maybe 2 seasons of rain. And then what I'm responsible for from the communication perspective is the website, social media, just everything else that goes along with that. And then in my day job, I'm a co-founder of a Microsoft partner. We develop software for a particular Microsoft stack. So I am passing this over to Laurie, I believe.
Thanks, Paul. Well, my name is Laurie Jerome, and my role on the AMA board is VP of Career Development. And that role entails working with partners like General Assembly, City University, Seattle School of Visual Concepts, and the different education partners in the local area that promote marketing career development. I also work on the job board and do some events with those partners. And I've been on the board for 1 year now, going on my 2nd year. Mm-hmm. And in my day job, my full-time job, I am the brand marketing manager for a building products company. And also I am a digital marketing instructor for a group called ThriveDX. So next I'll introduce Chris.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. My name is Chris McManus, and my role here at the AMA is the Vice President of Membership. And what that entails is getting to know our members and to increase our membership ranks. We as an organization would like to continue to grow, to give back and to serve the community as much as we can. And so my role is to kind of increase that footprint. During the day, I am a chief strategist. I'm a partner as well in my own firm. We are a digital marketing firm. We work with small to medium-sized businesses. And when I am not doing that, I'm raising 2 little ones in our home. So I feel like I have 4 or 5 jobs some days, depending on the day, you know?
Yep.
So with that, I introduce Mason.
Hi guys, thanks Chris. So for the AMA, my role is the VP of Volunteers. So really just trying to get people interested in joining up, partaking in all the events that we host. Just trying to make people aware of all of the great experience that people can achieve just through doing really great work with a really great organization and a great chapter. Outside of the AMA, my role is business development for a digital marketing agency called Fujisan Marketing, trying to grow our client portfolio, managing business relationships, lots of networking, and all sorts of that stuff. And I've got 3 dogs at home, so like you, Chris, I am always working. So very busy person. Back to you, Julie.
Oh, well, thank you. I normally don't talk too much during these, but since this is board of directors, I'm on the board. I get to talk about myself for a minute. I've been with AMA now over 10 years. I was a co-founding board member with the Northeast Wisconsin chapter, moved here to Seattle, and before I knew it, I was VP of mentoring for this chapter when we were still known as PSAMA. We're not anymore, but and then moved up to president-elect and president for 2 years, and now I'm past president / interim. We are looking for a president-elect and a president. Please, somebody take this off of my shoulder. I beg of you. So outside of AMA, I do a bit of this, bit of that, bit of the other, bit of freelance marketing for strategic planning and digital marketing. And I have my own YouTube channel, which I've linked below. Awesome. This is great. And I do want to mention that a couple folks are new here. So this is kind of the first time we've really kind of congregated and gathered, and I'm really excited. So let's learn a little more about everybody. Lori, what led you to marketing?
Well, I started out of high school as a graphic designer, but let me back up a minute. When I was a kid, I used to watch that show Bewitched. Did you guys ever see that show?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I just thought Darren Stevens' job was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that. And I didn't know, because I was a little kid, how you do that. And so I like to draw, and I started in graphic design when the print world was going into digital. And from there, I just morphed, because at that time I was one of the young digital people. So I kind of led that wherever I went, and then evolved into marketing. So the graphic design, the computer technology coming up, and I found myself as an advertising director for a chain of retail stores. And then I just went deeper into digital marketing, and I just love it. I love traditional and digital marketing, but I started as a graphic designer. How about you, Makayla?
Yeah, so I worked at a small business in downtown Puyallup, Washington for a couple years, and it was a retail business, and so I watched her do all the buying and all the fun stuff, and so I thought, that might be something I want to do, and so I got involved in DECA and business and marketing in high school, thinking that I was going to go into buying, but then I started learning about marketing and all the creative aspects of marketing, and I discovered I was actually pretty good at it, and we had a project that we had to complete for a competition where, we chose a company and then had to design a product for that company and pick an audience and a target market and all the things. And I just nerded out, and it was just so much fun. And so I decided to pursue a degree at UW-Tacoma and, get my bachelor's in marketing. And I'm still here, and I'm still a nerd, and I still love learning new things about marketing. And so yeah, that's where I am. Paul, I would love to hear what led you to your marketing profession.
Well, I started at college doing a business and marketing degree, and I wasn't exactly sure where that was going to take me, but I knew I wanted to be in the corporate world. And during my time at college, I was working part-time at a store very similar to Best Buy. And I was working on behalf of a really old PC manufacturer called Packard Bell. Don't know if anyone can recall Packard Bell. And this is kind of going back to the late 90s now, so I'm definitely showing my age. And this is when the internet was a thing. And I was working part-time weekends, evenings, and I would literally describe to people that come into this Best Buy type store that the internet was a giant newspaper. People are like, oh, okay, that's really cool. Okay, yeah, that's great. So I didn't really know anything about computers, clearly. And when I graduated, this must have been around 1999. So kind of the whole Y2K, the whole tech boom. So when I sent out my resume to recruiters, because I had this IT experience, I was literally getting offered all these jobs in IT. And that's how I fell into IT, was just because of that experience. So I didn't actually use any of my marketing experience for about 10 years, because those first 10 years of my career, I was really focused on being technical consultant and whatnot. And then I had my chance because I started moving away from being a consultant into sort of a technical account management, which was actually a really good blend for me, because I liked being technical, but also building those relationships, being able to provide business solutions. And from there, I sort of moved more into sales and then marketing, started my own business. So the other co-founder I worked with, he was very technical. So that was kind of a natural divide. He focused on the technical side. I'd focus more on sales and marketing. So that's kind of how I fell into marketing. And as you were saying, Makayla, I really love marketing. I really geek out on it. And it's a really good way to help amplify brands' messages, obviously, and get it out there. So who is next? I believe it's Chris.
Oh, thanks, Paul.
Is that correct?
Thank you so much. It sounds like a lot of us had the same kind of journeys into marketing. Not to date or age myself, but a lot of my inspiration came from the likes of Wolfman Jack and Casey Kasem as a kid. You know, I really thought that radio was the bee's knees, and I went into commercial radio, and it was a lot of fun. But what I found was the real money inside of radio was making commercials and doing the live events. And that really kind of kicked in the overdrive to really learn more and to do more. Through the years, I've worked as a graphic designer. I've been working in a print shop. I've sold cable advertising on TV. And then in 2007, I think my passion really kicked in when we went and dived into the digital world and the SEO emergence. And what I found through the years is that we're constantly learning, we're relearning. And that really keeps me motivated because there's so many changes. I mean, we go through changes almost 4 times a year on some aspects. And so the drive for us and me is really to stay on top of things, to constantly learn from other people and to incorporate that into what we're doing, not just for ourselves, but for our clients as well. And so, you know, my inspiration comes from old school. But we are so happy to be a part of this digital revolution. It's mind-boggling these days. Mm-hmm. Let's see, hold on a second here. Yeah. So, Julie, how about you? What brought you into this profession?
It was kind of a long, winding road. I actually started my career. I was originally going to be an English major. I was an English major, and I didn't want to write. I didn't want to be a journalist. I didn't want to be an author. I didn't want to teach. I didn't want to do any of it. But I wanted to be an English major because I just wanted to read. So that didn't work out, and landed in retail for about 10 years, and I hated every minute of it. That's actually what my YouTube channel is about. Did sales for about 2 years and realized, personality like mine does not do well with sales, oddly enough. And I fell into marketing. I was working at a call center and hating everything about it. I went to the technical college in Green Bay, and there was a wall of pamphlets of the different programs. And I thought, I am not leaving until I pick something. And so I sat there for about 2 hours and I kept holding the marketing pamphlet and the classes, and it just really inspired me and just sounded more fun than having to study. And so that's kind of how I got into marketing. And then eventually finally got my first marketing job after a couple more sales roles. So I've been in marketing ever since, about 10 or 11 years now. So yeah, long winding road, but I'm very happy for it. So, so I'm going to start with you, Mason. What are your top core values as a professional in your role?
Yeah, I'd say the top core value for me personally is continuous learning. I think in our space especially, you always need to be abreast of industry changes. For example, this GA4 situation, but with regards to so many other things. I mean, I also think and truly believe that it's great for our personal selves and our personal lives. Just to be knowledgeable helps with conversations, with networking, all sorts of things. So it's definitely my answer is continuous learning. Let's see, but I'd also like to know, sorry, kind of fell into a gap of missed caffeine. Sorry, guys.
Can't have coffee talk without coffee.
Yeah, I know. I've got it somewhere. But Chris, what's your top value?
I would say that for me, one of my top core values is honesty and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
We work with a lot of companies that really just don't know how to market. They don't understand how, in some cases, we have clients that can barely turn on a computer. And so we try to be open and honest and set real expectations for what we do. We don't want people to fall into a pitfall or, fall into some of these other traps and find out that marketing doesn't work. Like, it breaks my heart when I talk to somebody and they tell me, oh, I tried to market and it didn't work. What? Wait, the foundation of marketing is that it does work, and so that's the top core value for me is to be transparent and honest and really work with our clients and do some education and to piggyback on what you had said, Mason, to continue learning on our own. And so that's that for me. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I actually like to just sort of piggyback on what Mason said about the continued learning. And this is more of a tip, I guess, but just something that struck a note for me is early on in my career, especially when I was being technical, we all recognize just how fast technology works and evolves. And it can be really fun, but it can also get quite exhausting, just that pressure to keep learning new programs, new best practices, and so on. And I found there's two types of career paths people can take. There can be one, if you find the right organization, my philosophy was if they can invest in you, then to me, that was worth it, because at the end of the day, you will get the money, you will get those promotions down the road. Whereas some people can just jump around from job to job, just chasing salaries, right? And it can work for different ways for different people. But I'm a really big believer in that too. And just find the right organization that really invests in you, and you will get those rewards down the road. And in terms of values, integrity, I think that that's something which is really important to me, because without honesty and without trust, you have nothing. And then obviously it's very common out. People want to see that in the brands that they deal with, they buy from. They want to know what their social corporate responsibility is. So I think that is important both for me and for the organizations that I work with, as well as who I buy from. So that's the number one for me, for sure. There should be more of it in the world.
There should be.
Yeah, especially now. Agreed with all three of you. I'm going to start with you, Paul. As marketers, what would you consider your biggest hurdle in reaching an audience today?
Noise, distraction, and all the above. We live in a very interesting time where we are saturated with information. We all know how that is with just news and sports and whatever else that you pay attention to. So for marketeers, it's challenging. It's really challenging trying to get your message out with all those noise and distractions. So I think it just kind of goes back to, content's king, making sure it's relevant, making sure that you've built that trust with the audience. And I also think as well that kind of even going back to what Chris was saying, where some organizations say marketing doesn't work. And I think it even comes back to, from a social media perspective, that brands can obsess on just looking for complaints or general customer service requests where they're sort of missing, they're not listening to what their customers are saying. Maybe there is a sales opportunity. Maybe there's some really good feedback. Maybe there could be a good idea for the next product. So I think that it's just a noisy environment, both for a consumer as well as businesses and social media teams, of what are we actually doing here? What content are we getting out there? And what are we expecting people to listen to? So it's just really figuring out that and try your best to have an authentic message that you can really stand behind. And I do believe if you have that, it will get through to the right people.
Agreed.
Okay, so is there a book, podcast that you'd recommend for people starting off in marketing, Chris?
Yes, I would. And it's going to sound a little odd, but it's an old school book. When I was studying as an undergraduate, I took a really fascinating course on media and propaganda. And one book that will stand out, and I would recommend it to anybody, is the actual book called Propaganda, The Formation of Men's Attitudes. And it's by Jacques Ellul. And in that book, he lays out some of the core foundations of marketing, of advertising. And it's written from a perspective that gives you a better understanding of terminology like pushing and pulling or integration, and really building that message out and finding out who that audience is, and also how we as marketers convey that message on behalf of individuals. So my pick is a classic. It's Propaganda by Jacques Ellul, and then you can look it up online. It's easy to find.
That sounds actually really fascinating.
Yeah.
That's deep. It sounds very philosophical.
Yeah, the class was very interesting. Studying the classics, I think, is paramount. If you're just starting out, yes, you can dive right into the current stuff, but let's take a little bit of a step back and look how we got here.
Right.
Yeah, there's a podcast, not so much a book, that I like to, called the Digital Marketing Podcast, funny enough. It's hosted by a guy out of Great Britain, and he brings on industry experts on things, anything from SEO to PPC to Google Analytics. He's really good at taking very technical themes within digital marketing, the industry, and he's really great at, as well as the people that he brings on, breaking things down into layman's terms. So when I first got started in digital marketing, it was my go-to. Episodes are about 20 minutes long, so my attention to what they were saying was retained, and I'm better for it. I highly recommend it for people that are experts in what they do now within digital marketing, or people just getting started out.
I would also just throw in, it's not a podcast per se. It's a video. It's a TED Talk, I believe. And it's probably 15 years old, from a chap called Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of us have heard of it, but it's incredible because he talks about the golden circle. And when I watched it back in the day, it really blew my mind because it kind of walks you through the essence of a corporate brand and what they stand for and what they're doing. And essentially, what he's saying is that a lot of corporations and brands focus on the what they do, but not the why. And that's what people want to buy from, is the why. And of course, he uses Apple, which, you know, they are the masters at doing that. And it's really interesting. I won't butcher it, I won't ruin it, but I would highly recommend people check it out.
Awesome. Awesome. I actually kind of want to go back to you, Lori, and ask you, what do you consider a big hurdle in reaching an audience today? This has been a great discussion, by the way. I love this.
It might answer similar to Paul's, like there's too much noise, you know, so the biggest hurdle is to figure out which channel to be in for your audience to listen to you. And we do a lot of work in my company on personas and customer journey mapping. So one of the biggest challenges when you're working with the sales team is to bring them in and teach them, because they are such a great resource. So that's been also a challenge. It's the noise. And then, like, it used to be back in the day that you create stuff, marketing stuff, and you give it to sales and you'd say, here. But now we've discovered that the sales are they're the front lines and the people that are listening. So that's part of the kind of the challenge, is also to teach salespeople about marketing, because before they didn't understand how it was important to them, and now they can actually interact with some of these channels like social media and LinkedIn and the way they connect with their customers. So that's what I think is the biggest challenge, is the noise, and really being able to understand with your customer and understand your customer. And a lot of it has to do with teaching sales how to be marketers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. As a salesperson in a digital marketing agency, I think just kind of what I brought up before with, continuous learning, and the podcast as well that I mentioned, it's aided me in my role immensely with communicating to people what we do and what we can achieve for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How about you, Chris? What are your thoughts on hurdles and reaching an audience?
You know, I will echo exactly what Paul and Lori said, is that we are in a very noisy environment today. And to add on to that, there are times where I feel like we're almost chasing the audience. You know, social media burst out onto the scene, and some marketers weren't quick to adapt, and so they chased that audience. And now we're seeing the changes with social media doing its thing, and people are progressing back to traditional marketing, like your television, your radio, and direct mail. And so I feel sometimes we're not ahead of the audience. We're more reactionary, and I think at times we could really use some time and figure out, like Lori had said, develop those personas to understand that buying cycle and know where that audience is as marketers. So that way, when that audience does hit that spot, we are prepared. You know, our clients are prepared. And so, you know, the noise, we have a short attention span nowadays. What is it? Less than 9 seconds? Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and we live in a soundbite type of an era, and people, it seems like it takes a lot more effort to break through that noise, to find that audience and understand what it is that they're looking for, to fulfill both the needs of our clients and theirs, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very noisy. And I think that one thing that kind of bugged me early on was some thought leader saying, just create content. Doesn't matter if it's bad or good. Just create content. I think
Yeah,
but there's quality over quantity, and I'm more quality.
Right.
If you're selling roofing shingles and you have 50,000 people that come to your website, and 10 or 40,000 of those people are looking for concrete, that's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly. So it's kind of what everyone's been saying is fine tuning and really finding your audience, the people that will buy from you, not just, how many followers do you have? Yeah, that's a nice metric to have, but honestly, does
Right.
that
You can
really
buy
mean-
those people.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
It comes down to sales and how many sales does it take, or how many customers does it take to make this amount of sales, and how do you get that customer to that point? And that's really where it is. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation.
Well, I think sales as well makes a mistake on, it depends on your metrics, but like, oh, great, we've had, 1,000 leads. That sounds awesome, but what type of leads are they? Are they quality leads? Because you'd rather have 100 quality leads than 1,000 just noisy leads, because then, it's just wasting time, this noise. So there's a lot of that, as you said, Judy, quality versus quantity.
Absolutely.
My favorite example with that, when I was still doing sales, I was a banker for the official bank of the Green Bay Packers.
Go Hawks.
Yeah.
In the country, mind you. And because of that partnership, we were allowed a booth at the Packers games, at the home games. So we had a booth outside when it was still nice out. We were next to the Sargento people, which was great. We got a lot of free cheese. They're a Wisconsin company. And then we had a table in the atrium. So like as people are walking past, they walk past us into the game. So our goal was to get people to sign up for checking accounts at an NFL game in the third drunkest city in the country.
Next to the cheese people.
Next to the cheese. And the appeal was if you got people to sign up and they went through the direct deposit, all of that stuff. And by the way, you're handling private information that you're bringing home to you in your car. It's a whole big thing, and I wish they would get called out for it. And
I think they have now.
The prize was, if you went through all of this, you'd get a jersey, a pro jersey. And it's just, well, you can just go buy one in the store right there,
Wow.
So none of those leads were quality. I'm going to tell you right now, not any of them were quality leads. So it's, meeting your audience, is that really the best place? No.
Right.
So I just have to share that story. So enough about me. Chris, what is the best advice you ever got that's applicable to marketing? And how is it applicable to marketing, I should say?
That's a great question. And I'm going to kick this one over to Makayla because she hasn't really said much yet. And so I'm going to give her the floor first. And let's see.
I was called out.
Yes, Makayla.
So I am very, very early in my career. I'm only 26. And so, I haven't been given like a ton of advice. So, if anyone has advice for me, I'd love to hear it. But something that my professors had always gotten on me about is like connections. And I was kind of like, okay, yeah, well, like whatever. Well, I mean, now that I'm, in my career for a little bit, I realize how important that is, not only to, get further in your career, but even just for like help. Like, I know that I could ask any of you on this today. If I was having a problem at work and I needed marketing help, any of you would be willing to step in and, give me your advice. And I think that's like the great thing about AMAs. It's not only you guys that can help me. I can reach out to anyone that's a part of any chapter across the country. So that is, that's the advice I've got. But, if you guys ever have any advice to me, like I said, I'd love to hear it. So let's go ahead and go back to Chris. What advice can you share with me that you've been given?
I would say that the best piece of advice that I was ever given, and I think this is kind of a universal thing, is that don't be afraid of failing. Don't be afraid of falling down. We can sit and we can dive into some numbers and we can forecast and we can predict. And we really don't want to have an unsuccessful campaign. But somewhere along the lines with those unsuccessful campaigns, there's important data points there. And so to constantly be successful, you're, like we had mentioned earlier, the continuous learning aspect of what we do. You can't learn unless you fall down. I'm raising little guys and they run through the house. I can yell at them all day, but until they actually smack into that wall, they won't learn. And so
Very true.
Yes. So for me, don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid. Continue that process, and know that, not everything is going to be successful, but it's part of the process to get better.
Mm-hmm. And if anything, you can call it a test.
Right. We call them A/B tests.
Exactly. This is all really great stuff. Really great stuff, and I love this. This makes me happy. And speaking of happy, Paul, you've been with AMA for over 3 years. It's been a long journey. You accomplished a lot. What has been your proudest moment with AMA?
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit of backstory. So when I moved up from California in 2019, my professional network was very, very small, and I had heard of AMA, and going back to one of my passions in marketing, it just made sense for me to be involved or at least attend these local chapters. And this was back in the original Snowmageddon, when it was actually cool and fun to stay inside for 2 weeks, not seeing anyone. And also trip down memory lane. This was when the 99 tunnel officially opened. So it was February 2019. I came to a snowy AMA event at, is it Lakeside Cafe Restaurant?
I think that's what it's called now. Previously known as Lake Union Cafe. Yes.
That's it. So I went there, and there was a great presenter. I really liked the people that I met. And the former president made a call to action on people joining the board. I sort of sheepishly put my hands up, and before I knew it, I was thrown into this communications role. And it's been really fun. And when I look at the last 3 years, obviously we've had to overcome some big challenges with a pandemic. And, how I got involved was going to an in-person event. So just trying to keep that relevancy, that community by doing online. And Julie, you've done a phenomenal job with the Coffee Talk series. And some of the accomplishments I think we are all proud of as a team is, we rolled out a new website, which is sort of standard to the AMA National now. So that was a big project for us. We then moved from an email management tool to MailChimp. We pulled off the largest market mix of all time in 2019, which was the last market mix we did. And I think overall, the proudest moments I get is working with a really cool bunch of creative people and watching them grow in their own professional career, where they can come on, take on projects that they wouldn't do in their day-to-day job, and have that creative freedom to be able to do it and not feel that pressure, by undertaking it. So there's a lot of proud moments, but I think, there's as a collective, we've done a really good job over the last couple of years.
And don't forget, Paul, about the nonprofit project you did during the pandemic.
That's right. Yeah, that was a good project that we did as a team, where we matched AMA members to nonprofits within the Puget Sound. So there was one nonprofit called Community for Youth, which is like Big Brother, Big Sister. It's mainly focused around South Seattle. And being a nonprofit, they always need extra help, particularly around marketing and how they can get that brand, their message amplified. So we teamed up with an awesome AMA member, Anita. Hi, Anita. And she did so much work in helping them transform a in-person gala, which they've been doing for 20 plus years down at the Marriott in Seattle. And that was their number one fundraiser. So suddenly they were in crisis mode of, how do we continue with this number one annual fundraiser and move it online? And everyone could sort of come together and rallied and helped them. And they succeeded and actually beat their previous donation drive. So that was a a very proud moment too. And I think just finally as well, something I always like to see is, people being able to step into these roles and join the board and learn new leadership skills and have their voice heard. And I know I'm making a plug here for the board, but I think it's really true. And just working with a lot of people over the last 3 years to really see that come true. Mm-hmm. I don't know who's next. Sorry. Who's next, Julie? Who?
Oh, I think it's me.
Okay, Makayla. There you go.
Yes, thank you, Paul. So, in 2021, I was kind of like, so I've only been on the board. This will be my second year. But in 2021, I was kind of thinking like, okay, I need to start surrounding myself with people who are going to help me professionally, especially with working from home. I'm not getting that one-on-one environment that I would have in the office. And so I went ahead and I reached out to Julie, and here I am. And, as an introvert, like stuff like this is hard for me. And I feel like the pandemic, made it a lot worse. And so Julie and Lori and we attended the Leadership Summit in Chicago back in April, and it was a great time. And I will admit I was very nervous because I was introduced to people from all over the country. And that is something that I don't like to, step out of my little bubble. So that's something I'm proud of. I met some really cool people that I know will be connections that I'll have for a majority of my marketing career. Another thing that I'm really proud of is I completed the digital marketing course. Yes, Julie wants me to just plug this all the time. So the Digital Marketing Institute offers a course a certified course that you can take, and AMA, with your membership, you can get a discount for it. It's a great course. I learned a ton. It took me a good probably over 150 hours to complete it, but I am someone who, has to read everything and make sure that I do good on the test. So highly recommend it if you haven't taken it yet, especially if you're just beginning your career, because, they do review a lot of those basics that you go through, or I guess you learn in college. So yeah, those are my proudest moments. I believe, Julie, what is your proudest moment with AMA? I know you've been with AMA for quite some time now.
Yeah, fourth of my life, literally fourth of my life. And so I've got a few proud moments. The first one, obviously, being in a meeting when was this? January, February of 2012, in this insurance office, discussing with other people, are we going to create our own marketing group in Northeast Wisconsin, or are we going to affiliate ourselves with the Northeast or with AMA? So that was a proud moment of just that meeting and how much we accomplished. And then in July of 13, being sent a letter saying we are official AMA chapter. So those in New York, Northeast Wisconsin. And then here I've had, because I've been here longer, so many. Market Mix 2019 was amazing. Georgia Blairot did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Gosh.
Yeah,
so big shoes to fill for me. So in planning Market Mix 22 tickets, we've got 50 days, less than 50 days. Just putting that together has been huge. Becoming president-elect and president and going through that and making it through the pandemic as an AMA leader. It doesn't end. I've got so many proud moments, and I know there are more to come. Eventually I will phase myself out, I promise.
You're never leaving. Admit it, you're never leaving. You're not going to get
I need a vacation.
We're not going to let her.
Yeah.
Well,
you're forbidden to leave, Julie.
Well, fun fact, and this is for all chapters. If anybody's interested in being a president of an AMA chapter, if you have a good year, you get free membership for life. So no, you can't get rid of me. I literally have free membership for life. If anybody's interested in joining their chapter and getting something like that, you're gonna have to work your butt off, but it's worth it. I just want to end with one more question, and I think, and if anybody else wants to answer this as well, but this is to you, Chris. What is one thing you want the audience to know about marketing from your perspective?
I would like to do kind of a round table, get everybody's idea on this one because, we all have different walks of life and we all have different opinions. And so, I'll punt this one off to say Lori to start and, I'll jump back in when appropriate. How about it, Lori? What do you think?
I wasn't prepared for that, Chris. I was looking at the question and I was trying to think what of this audience here I would like to know. I think we keep repeating this throughout this conversation, but my personal favorite motto is learn everything because nothing is useless. So I think that applies to everything that we're talking about. And I love it how everybody's the same as me. I've heard people say, I don't like change. I love change. So that marketing is constantly changing. So if you're looking for a profession and you're not in marketing yet and you're interested, this is a place where we're always learning, growing, and changing. And that's what makes it fun and exciting. I think that's what I would want people to know.
Absolutely.
How about Paul? What do you think?
Yeah, I am going to go back to the Simon Sinek again, because I do think, for me at least, that was really profound. Of people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And I think it's the why that's really intriguing. And because of that, and this is going back 10 plus years, I've definitely got into the habit of really paying attention to ads, commercials, banners, whether consciously or subconsciously. And I'm really fascinated on how brands work. Even thinking about some of the best brands on the planet, some of the best slogans on the planet, like Nike, just do it. I mean, it's so simple, but it's just absolutely brilliant. And it's survived, decades now. So for me, going back to Makayla saying earlier on about geeking out, being a nerd, I love that stuff because I think it's really fascinating just understanding how messaging works. And a lot of times it's just simple. I think we as marketeers can overcomplicate it. We try and get too clever and we try and come up really jazzy ways of framing something when sometimes just simple is the best. And when I think about marketing to technology, to IT people, going back to my own career of being technical as well as sales, a lot of technical diehards hate salespeople. They don't trust them because all they're going to do is throw them a bunch of marketing buzzwords when all they want to do is talk to someone technical and understand what's really going on here. So I think it's just understanding your audience and keeping it simple.
Absolutely.
And Mason, you're up.
Yeah, I love what you and Lori said. Honestly, I think keeping things simple just makes everything easier in and outside of our professional lives. I think it speaks volumes, like the Nike logo and their motto. And then Lori, with you as well, I just, or actually, no, to go back to you, Paul, with the, trying to find a good way to kind of elaborate on this a little more. I think really, as a salesperson as well, I think understanding who you're talking to and understanding your clients comes first and foremost, just to begin with. And so I think, once that's down pat, and you take into consideration that keeping this thing simple, it just goes such a long way. It's a vehicle for success in the long run. And yeah, that's I think that's the advice that I've got. I'm sort of new to the marketing world, but I have extensive experience in sales and consulting. So I'm learning my way. I'd love to elaborate a little more, but yeah, I'm gonna pass this back onto you, Chris.
Thanks. I think I just nailed the most effective way of answering a question without ever answering it.
Yeah.
You got a career in politics there, Chris.
You know, I do enjoy it. I do. You know, and ultimately, to echo exactly what you guys said, you know, I couldn't have said it better. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't be afraid to continuously learn. And I guess one of the only other things that I would say is don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to try. I mean, of course, I'm not suggesting that you go out and launch some crazy ad campaign thinking that you're going to be avant-garde. But don't be afraid to push the envelope. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and to learn. You know, and that's not just for marketers. That's for the business owners. That's for the IT people. You know, we are a social being. We're humans. We need this interactivity, and one of the best ways to do that is to put ourselves out there, to try and to continue. And so that's what I would say for the audience is, you know, keep it simple, continue to learn, just like Paul, Lori, and Mason have said, and then, you know, don't be afraid.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. Keep it human.
Yes.
Humanity in your marketing. If you're noticing that you're starting to go a little more corporate speak, take a step back. You know, does this sound like a person would say this? In some cases, yes. If it's legal speak, then yes, you have to be very, very corporate and formal. That's understandable. But in your actual marketing, advertising, and that's, I think, why Nike does so well with their branding, because just do it. It's talking to you. It's talking to all of us specifically, but it's talking to me. It's talking to you. It's telling me, go do that thing I want to do. It doesn't have to be sports, but that thing that's been nagging me, go do it. Be yourself. So I think everyone in marketing always cites Nike, and that's just because they've nailed it.
You know, and I'll piggyback on that. I don't know if you guys remember the Apple ad where like there was a direct attack against Orwell and the future, and when she walks in with the sledgehammer and just smashes the TV screen, you know, that gives you an example of, you know, pushing that envelope. You know, where are our audience? What are they thinking, and how far can we go to get that message across? And people cite Nike all the time. I like to cite Apple. Yeah. You know, I like to cite companies like Ben and Jerry's, you know, going back to what Paul had said about that corporate social responsibility. You know, these are great learning tools for not just marketers, but businesses in general.
Yep. How about you, Makayla?
So I think something that wasn't brought up, I agree with, you know, marketing is fun. It's always changing. There's always new things to learn. But something I think even recently that I've been focusing on is the importance of, you know, just being aware of like current events, what's going on, really focusing on your DEI efforts. I'm a small team of 2, and so sometimes we can't make those decisions. And so I am constantly asking for leadership opinions and help on how to word things and what to post and how to post it. So, I guess that's something about marketing that, you know, wasn't really said, but is very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Chris? That answered my question.
I believe so. I think we did good there.
Awesome. Is there anything anybody wants to, as we're wrapping up, anything anybody wants to add, whether about the chapter, about what you're going to do this year, or just in marketing in general?
If you'd like to be a volunteer and get your hands dirty and learn and network, direct message me on LinkedIn or email.
Yep.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. Don't contact me. Contact Mason. Do not contact me. Contact Mason, please. Anything about any of these roles, contact that person. Anything but career development, contact Lori, please. Never try to contact Chris, please. And
to piggyback, sorry, Lori, there. To piggyback and kind of say, you know, for our members or those that are thinking about membership, feel free to give us some feedback. You know, current members, you know, let us know what's working for you, what's not working for you. The only way that we can grow and continue to serve our members and to serve our community is to get that feedback. And so any kind of membership, all members, if you're watching this, you guys will be hearing from me. You will be, because we need to know. We want to see how you guys are doing. We are still, on the tail end of a pandemic. Things are still very volatile in the world. Let us know how you're doing. Check in on us, or allow me to check in with you and to see, what we can do to help further grow you as a marketer or you as a business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally agree with both Mason and Chris there, and I think feedback's great. Not to sort of reiterate it, but we're a small team, we're powered by volunteers here, and I wish there was more hours in the day. But if there's any suggestions, any ideas how we can communicate better, we live in this hybrid world right now of in-person and digital. So yeah, let us know for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you want to be part of it, contact Mason.
Yeah. And we have a job board, don't we, Laurie?
Yeah, we have a job board on our website. And if you have jobs, if you're looking for a job, or you are an employer and you'd like to post a job, you can go to our website, find our careers page, and there's instructions there how to do that, or you can reach out to me and I can help you with that.
And it's free to job seekers too, which is great.
Yeah.
Market Mix, like I said, is in 49 days. Get your tickets now. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. I do want to mention that there are two faces that are not here today. I just want to make sure that they are getting recognition. Keval Patel, he is our CFO. He moved here from Vegas recently. He was part of the AMA Vegas chapter, Las Vegas chapter, and he's now with us. I'm very excited. Unfortunately, he had a meeting. So I will be doing something with him shortly, just a kind of one-on-one quick chat with him shortly. That I'll post on the channel. And I also want to say hi, Jocelyn Quall. She is our VP of programming. She has some big plans coming up, such as bringing back our Bellevue breakfasts and bringing back the breakfasts in Tacoma. So those are two big things. I know, Chris, you're also planning a members only meeting soon. You're working together on that. So I just want to make sure that Jocelyn and Keval get recognition because they are part of our team. And we do have a group of lovely volunteers. We're going to be doing an episode just like this where we meet the volunteers in April during Volunteer Appreciation Week. Other than that, I want to thank everyone for your time today. It's a longer episode just because there's a few of us. So thank you all so much, not only for your time doing this episode, but just for your time in keeping the chapter going. As it's been said, we are a 501c3 volunteer-led membership organization. So we are not making money on this. This is all pure out of the kindness of our hearts.
Yes.
And we're getting worried, Judy, at the beginning that we didn't have enough questions and content to talk about, huh?
Not worried.
There you go.
We're a good group. So you can be part of our fun, good group. Thank you all. If you liked today's episode, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I just learned that once we hit 500 subscribers, we can start doing polls on YouTube. So we just need 300 and some more. Whatever email address you have, go into YouTube and subscribe.
Goals are good, Judy. Goals are good.
Yep, very good. Very nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate your time and have a great day. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.